the key, if you're injured, is to do as much high intensity training as possible in that time. So if you've got a bad ankle sprain, you need to make sure that you're using an assault bike with just your arm. You need to make sure that you're using battle ropes or boxing. You need to make sure that you're training upper body. So your training loads are still high, which makes it much easier to come back to playing at a high intensity. Okay, let's assume you haven't done that. You need to be slow and steady on the way back. So there's something called training stress balance, or the acute chronic ratio. Okay, and basically it's a very simple concept that the amount of work you do in the previous 4 weeks makes up your chronic load. Okay, so it's basically the average amount of work that you've done in the previous 4 weeks, and the work we do this week shouldn't exceed 1.2 times that amount. Otherwise, you're probably at a slightly greater risk of injury. And if you do more than 1.5 times the chronic load, which is again the work from the previous 4 weeks, then you're going to be at quite a high risk of injury. The general concept is just based around massive increases of load. So if we just use running distance as an example, if on average over the last month we've run 10,000 meters in a week, so 10K, this week we shouldn't run 13K or 15K or 20K, because it's going to be a massive increase. So you need to come back gradually, and that means you need to try and keep your training loads high throughout your injury. And that's why you need to gradually increase your training loads when you're able to come back from injury. If you take huge steps to come back, you might get away with it in the short term. And you often see that players will come back from injury and they'll either very quickly become re-injured with the same injury, or they'll have a new injury which is somewhat linked to the old injury. So you need to make sure that you come back very gradually and you do not rush. Work with physios, speak to Jared if you need to about any pain you're having on the way back, or any rehab you need to do, and just make sure that you don't rush, because if you rush, you might just get injured again. And the more you get injured, the more likely you are to get re-injured with the same thing.